The Owl House episode 24, which is season 2, episode 5, came out today. I know a lot of fans are flipping out about this one because it's basically the episode where Lumity is confirmed, which is, if you don't know, it's the ship name for Amity and Luce, which thank God it is, because the worst thing about these kind of shows that do this, they really try to play the will they won't they thing, because network executives don't like LGBTQs in the shows like this, because basically they rely on international funding to produce and make these shows, and outside of America, a lot of countries are like, screw you, you're not allowed to exist, we're gonna kill you and murder you. So I'm just saying, it's not pretty, and it's kind of funny that we always flip out now about like, wow, there's not enough representation in American movies, and then we don't really talk about the fact that other countries are murdering gays. So I'm just saying, not to depress people, but I'm just saying that's a reality that we have to live with. But this show is trying to make a stand and actually do something, and that's great. Now, let's actually get into the actual episode before I depress you all even further. In this episode, basically we have two plots. Luce learned at the end of the last week's episode that, she needs to go get a book from the library, and she knows Amity has a key card to go get this book that's written by a human, and that's kind of their plot in the episode. And then we have Gus's plot, which Gus's plot is basically that Gus is basically it's the plot of a last season's episode where Gus is trying to prove himself because he's sick of being younger. Except they don't really bring up the aspect that he's younger than everybody, but I think that obviously plays into it. And then one bully character comes back, is a bully again, and then learns not to be a bully again. This was easily the weakest part of the episode because it was like, I kind of knew where this was all going. I liked that it was a little bit different, but not enough different to where I couldn't get the escape that this is literally just an episode from last season put in this episode. Still, it was a fine episode, and I don't really get what the point of Gus is. Like, Gus is a character in the show, but I thought he was just like a fun, goofy side character. And I like that. I like him in that role, but it feels like episodes like this are trying to give him a spotlight for something. I'm sitting here like, but why though? Like, is he really going to contribute to the story that much? So in this episode, let's get into Luce and Amity's plot. There's a lot of blushing. There's a lot of that. Because, it was clear from the episode we met Amity's parents that Luce started to return Amity's feelings for her, but Amity is also very confused about how she feels. That's made very clear in this episode. Basically, they go and get this book, and they accidentally get caught because they have to sneak around to get this book, and Amity gets mad at Luce and says, everything has been different and changing since you've been around, and she's upset about it, and she lost her job that she really loved, and Luce goes and gets it back and comes to Amity, but we hear her siblings talking, and they say the line that is pretty interesting. They said, is that a bad thing that things are changing? You weren't happy before. And that's such a beautiful line that sums up why these characters like each other. It's because, like all good couples, Luce brings out the best in Amity, and Amity brings out the best in Luce. They bring out the best in each other, and that's why they like each other. It's pretty simple as that. And they're just also just kind of cute. Like all the fans think they're a cute couple, which is weird for children. Like, these characters are children. Some people need to stop being a little bit of the creeps that they are about this, but but it's like, yeah, I really enjoy them. And so, Luce was penned a little rap from earlier in the episode and says, I hope we can be friends. And then Amity kisses her on the cheek and says, you have a way of getting into people's hearts. Pretty obvious. These characters are... They haven't, like, they're not dating yet, but it's very obvious that both of their feelings are made clear to each other, and now it's just up to another episode to pick up where this episode leaves off. And it's great, because they cannot stop, they cannot go back on this. The kiss happened, even if it's just a kiss on the cheek, it happened, and now it's these characters that are going to have to act on their feelings. And I think it's great. The other thing I want to say about this episode is, you know, Luce mentions taking Amity to the human world. Is that going to be a plot line? Because we know that season 3 isn't happening. We know that there are going to be 45-minute specials, 3 of them, that are going to act as season 3. And I'm wondering if one of those plot lines is Luce accidentally gets Amity and her both trapped in the human realm, and for some reason has to go back to the demon realm. I wonder if that's going to be a plot, and if that's a hint for next season. But it was kind of cute. I like, well, maybe it won't be so weird once I show you around the human world. And then Amity was like, we gotta go get that book. Like, she flipped out. She was like ecstatic about seeing the human world with Luce. It's just funny. But yeah, I really, really good episode. One of the best of the season. It was just kind of a, you know, every episode with these two makes me want to watch it more. But still, 10 out of 10.